start seeing that, you're like, oh, snap, I'm going to have to become a whole different person right now. It's sometimes challenging because you're actually reshaping your identity into who you are. But if you reshape your identity into a person whose habits align with the success of that goal, then you're going to become an amazing, incredible, inspiring person. And it's
Welcome back to the Happy Positive Energy Game podcast with me, your host, Luke Anning. And I hope all you beautiful people are feeling bright and warm. And if not, that's exactly why I'm here. And if anything this episode lands with you, I really appreciate it if you drop a share and tag me in your Instagram socials at LUKE, full stop ANNING. We really don't ask for much over here, just that you take on board some of the lessons and in some way make your day and somebody else's day better. So today I wanted to talk about a massive revelation I had recently as to my happiness and fulfillment having within, well, kind of with doing what I do. But I think a lot of people aren't happy and fulfilled because they, number one, they don't have goals that inspire them and motivate them to become a better version of themselves. Like 99% of the people that I speak to don't have goals. Like the only goal is that I wouldn't mind having my own place or I'd love to be happier. But that's kind of it. There's nothing more, there's nothing deeper. And that's okay if you want to be in the flow and kind of be average, like, the rest of the people. But if you're somebody who wants more out of this game of life, there's got to be something that gets you out of bed every morning. At least in my opinion, I feel like you have to have something that gets you out of bed every morning. Then, number two, oftentimes people don't align habits that embody that goal as well. So I get people saying, like, I want to build a podcast, I want to speak around the world, I want to coach others to live a more fulfilled life, I want to make 100K a year. I'm like, cool, let's do this. But oftentimes it's habits that let you down. And I like to look at habits as death by 1,000 paper cuts. This is something I'm actually teaching my clients right now, that your habits will really define your success. So think of it as like habits is like a long and short term gain. So short term gain of the habit of working out is feeling good and proud of yourself for showing up. The long term gain is you looking good, feeling good, and being able to live a longer life. The short term gain of getting 8 hours of sleep is feeling rested, lowering anxiety. The long term gain is a healthier heart and lower blood pressure, meaning you live a longer life. The short term gain of doing an extra 5 comments per day for all you coaches or online business owners or wannabe coaches or wannabe online social media gurus out there on other people's posts is more people seeing your posts and your content, more people seeing your feed. The long-term gain of that is more people seeing your life-changing content and increased revenue, which expands your ability to impact people. It's all so critical. And like I said, I really think it is important to look at the death by 1,000 paper cuts repercussions. So the short-term habit of not working out is lower mood, increased weight gain, increased anxiety and depressive symptoms. Long term equals higher risk of heart disease, increased contribution to obesity, and higher risk of certain cancers. Short term effect of lack of sleep equals grumpiness, moodiness, mood swings, fatigue, memory retention issues. Long term effect of lack of sleep equals reduced quality of life, a weakened immune system, lower fertility, and a shorter lifespan. Short-term effect of not being consistent with your work efforts equals probably fears of not doing enough and fears that it isn't working and lack of belief cropping up. Long-term effect is not becoming the coach or business owner that you deserve to be and the world deserves to see, possibly business crashing and you have to pick up another job or you never leave the one that you're in. It's pretty catastrophic, the effects of it when you look at it. And the same happened for me when I came out of university. I was half-assing my habits and the goals were just non-existent. So I remember being in a place where I was with an ex-girlfriend and things were really crashing and burning and things were getting toxic and we had the talk. The talk where it's like, I think we need to have a talk, that one. And things just really weren't working out, and we decided to call it quits. And I remember sitting in my car and just crying, and I was like thinking like, I have literally nothing I'm committed to fully in my life. I'm not committed to this relationship. I was the one that screwed up. I'm not committed to training. I'm not even committed to myself at all. And I took a decision at that point to finally set a goal. It was like, I'm going to get the leanest I ever had. I'm just going to go all in on this one thing. So I messaged Nick Gloff, my first ever coach. And I didn't know at the time, but it would be the best thing that I ever did. And this is the revelation I had. It wasn't the hiring the coach. It wasn't necessarily about me having the goal, but it was about becoming aligned as fuck with my habits. Because at the time, I was sleeping maybe 5 hours a night. I was getting paralytically drunk every single weekend. And I went on with Nick, and I was finally eating regular meals. I was implementing the habit of training my body correctly. I was implementing lots of different things. And I was training my body, yes, but most importantly, I was training my mind and my mindset. I brought on the habit of me sleeping 8 hours per night. I brought on the habit of showing up and being consistent for myself. And these same things meant that 3 weeks after doing this consistently, I'd left my 7 to 5 construction job to work on changing people's lives for one night with music events. And then that carried on consistency of me showing up for myself with my fitness goal, whilst also it having a compound effect within my coach, within my job life, within my music events job, was that 6 months later, I got into coaching. So the habits in the short term were me sorting my life out. For I was depressed, I was anxious, I was not driven, I was unmotivated, I was unaccountable. The habits in the long term have allowed me the ability to inspire others to build goals, habits that change their lives, and create a job that I'd always dreamed of. And it wasn't overnight. This was something that was months and years of me tweaking habits and aligning new goals that filled my soul up. And that's, something that I still do today. But I wanted to teach you the same whilst we're here. So, step one, I want you to ask yourself, what's one area in my life I'd love to fully commit to just go all in on? This could be fitness, that could be business, that could be relationships, that could be morning protocol. It could be literally anything, but set yourself a goal that's scary. Like for me, my goal was I want to be the leanest that I'd ever been. That was the goal. I'd never been down to that like 6% body fat. I'd always seen it, and it had the draw and appeal to me, but I'd never done it. So in a way, it scared me. So I want you to set a goal that scares you. Now, before we go into step two, if you want to get more free advice and guidance on how to create a life that you'd be inspired by and look to do the same for others, then join my Facebook group. The link's in the description. It's called the Badass Tribe. If you're searching for it on Facebook, the picture's like yellow and black. I've actually made it super easy for you guys. Like I said, tagged it in the description. And this is where like all of my highest performing, best content goes into. And we reshare all of my YouTube content so that you never miss a thing. And you also get first invitations out for all the upcoming exclusive free masterclasses that we have. It's really cool. There's like loads of badass people in there, and I wish I'd had this when I started my journey. So if that sounds like something you'd love, then just click the link in the description. Okay, so step two, now that you have a goal, I want you to think of the person. This is sick. So I want you to think of the person, the one who's achieved that thing, and ask yourself, what are the habits that this person would have? And then I want you to write them all down. So you've got the goal, and I want you to think of the person who's achieved that goal and what are the habits of that person. And then you're going to write them down. So is that better sleep? Is that more focus? Is that eating regularly? Is that going to bed on time? Is that having a couple extra hours towards yourself at the weekend? Is that investing in your success? Is that reading regularly? Like, Figure out all those habits that that person is doing in that experience. You're literally taking your goal and you're imagining yourself already there and writing out the habits that that person would have. So that's step 2. So step 3 is, what is the gap between that person and me now, and how can I bridge that gap? Like literally write out the gap, write out the bridge. It's really that simple, because when you start seeing that, you're like, oh snap, I'm gonna have to become a whole different person right now. It's sometimes challenging because you're actually reshaping your identity into who you are. But if you reshape your identity into a person whose habits align with the success of that goal, then you're going to become an amazing, incredible, inspiring person. And it starts by you becoming consistent with some new habits and routines that align with success. It's that simple. So, goals and habits are super important. And that's not just a short term and a long term gain to them, but there's a short term and a long term effect of not doing them. And you can create this through the 3 steps that we just talked about. So, step 1 is commit to one area of your life that can just align a goal, step, and commit to that one area in your life to be the best or go for the highest possible achievement within that one area. Step 2, identify all the habits of that committed person. And then step 3, what habits don't I have? And how can I bridge that gap? So, with that said, I hope you love this episode. And with that said, keep being the badasses. I'm having a giggle. I hope you love this episode. And with that said, keep being the badass that you are. Keep taking action. Be the inspiration. I appreciate you. And I hope you have an awesome day.